Hi, I'm Donathan.
And I'm Kelly. And we are Craving Cinematics.
Well, we watched Baahubali, the beginning, all 2 hours and 39 minutes.
Something like that. It was long. It's almost 3 o'clock in the morning here.
Yeah, but to be honest, great epic movie. You know, I'm kind of having, it's so late here, so I'm a little...
We're a little tired.
But
I'm stoked.
I'm stoked too, because this movie is going to be with me for a long time. The story is epic. I mean,
yeah.
It is legendary. I'm sure it's a legend story. But there was so much good character development in it and everything. But with that said, and don't hate me on this.
No hating. No hating.
But I did have a couple of issues with it. Now, with a movie, when I go to see a movie, especially one as epic as this one, I'm intent into the story. I look for a couple of things. One is story. Is the story really good? And this one is. The other thing is how immersed am I into the movie? And that's critical, because if I'm engrossed in the movie, it doesn't care how, I don't care how long it is. I'm on a journey, and I felt like I was on a journey with Shiva on this. From the time that he was picked from the river all the way to the end of the movie.
Which was cool.
Which was awesome.
I mean, we saw the trailer reaction, and we wondered, what's that baby doing sticking out of a hand, sticking out of the river? Well, now we know.
Now we know. But I got pulled out of the movie a couple of times, and that was a little disturbing. There is a scene to where Shiva had already gone to where he needed to go.
Climbed the mountain. Climbed up to...
Again, this is non-spoiler, but he climbed the mountain. He met the person he wanted to meet. And there's a scene to where he is basically romancing her. And it's a great scene. And this woman gets to see herself for the first time as a woman. That was epic. What drew me out was the music video put into the movie.
Yeah, okay.
And the reason why is the movie has a certain tone. It's quite dark. The music video was the exact opposite. So when it went into the music video, the scenery changed, the colors changed, the tone changed.
Costumes.
The costumes changed twice.
3 times, I think.
3 times in that whole scene. Now, I understand where the director was going with it, is that this is a fantastical type dream sequence, basically, is what it was. However, there weren't any real transitions into it. Nothing to guide me into that scene. It was, you're in this dark place up on top of the mountain. The next thing you know, you're next to a river with a stone swan boat with all this mist and all these beautiful trees and flowers everywhere, and their costumes are completely changed, and it's like a shock. And it drew me out of the story. And then the second time wasn't as bad, and it was the scene where the second music video came in. And that is when Baahubali and his brother are there to distract the thieves in the den of thieves. And they go into the song and dance. It didn't draw me out as bad, because I knew that that whole thing was a distraction, and it worked fairly well. However, again, it's a music video, and it came across that way.
Okay, so do you think, though, as just a music video, those two were very good?
They are really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, I think so, too.
They're great standalone music videos.
So do you think maybe this might be a cultural thing? that it's just a little bit more accepting, and maybe more expected, because in India we are gathering, learning that dance
is very
is
important.
huge. It's very important, and your actors, who dance and sing very well, and some maybe it's a cultural thing that they expect to see some of this in here, whereas we're not quite so used to.
Right. I
music
think that's
video.
probably it. The issue that I had is what?
Just drawing you out of the movie.
Drawing me out of the movie, because when I go to see a movie, if I know there's going to be singing and dancing, I'm expecting a musical. And there's at least in American cinema, there is a concurrent pace with that.
Not that it's right or wrong.
Exactly. It's just different. And it kind of drew me out of it a little bit, because I was, throughout the entire movie, except for those two parts, I was on this epic journey with Shiva. And it felt awesome. And then when it got into the second half of the movie, telling the history of the kingdom,
mm-hmm. That was fascinating.
That was absolutely fascinating. Epic cinematography, direction, everything. Except in both the beginning of the movie and then in the history telling, the second half of the movie, those two music videos were put in there. They just kind of drew me out a little bit. But that's the only complaint I have about the whole thing. Other than that, considering the budget and everything that this thing was produced on, I think it's phenomenal. Yeah. I did see a couple of issues with some of the effects, primarily the green screen effects, but those are easily overlooked because the story is so good.
Yeah.
It's just that those two instances, I just got drawn completely out of the movie.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense, and I understand that. I didn't mind them as much, simply because I love music. I love music videos. I love dancing. I still want to learn how to dance like that. And I really want to get a sarong. I believe that's what it's called. I would love to have a really pretty sarong to wear.
Yeah.
I mean, they're beautiful. They're so pretty. And I just think it would be cool to own one.
Yeah. Well,
but anyway, maybe I can get one sometime.
Christmas is coming up.
Well, true. It is. But anyway, back to the movie. It didn't bother me as much. I took them for what they were, a dream sequence and then a distraction. And I get where they were coming from. And I do think it's just a little bit of a cultural difference in movie making and crowd expectation.
Yeah.
I think Indians, as proud as you all are of your actors and the talents that they have, and they're multifaceted in talent. It kills me at the level that these actors are on. So I get that you kind of like seeing them in their movie, doing their dancing and doing their singing, and they were pretty. Both of them were very pretty. The first one was gorgeous.
Yeah.
I could see for Jonathan where it took him out of the story a little bit, but I enjoyed it. It didn't bother me as much. Of course, I talk about the cinematography because I'm just really big on scenery and how it plays into a movie. And again, I think those of you in India, movie makers and cinematographers in India, just really have a strong handle on how you use your cinematography and how you use it to help tell a story. Yeah. And the waterfall.
The waterfall and
my goodness!
When you see the two armies
and
clashing.
And you see the top shot, coming down, shooting down, and you see the formation moving, the trident moving forward.
That was amazing.
That was really, really cool.
Well, and I'll tell you something else. Speaking of the trident and everything, the whole battle strategy in it.
Yeah,
brilliant. The queen was amazing, and she was commanding.
And again, another strong woman.
And I mean, she goes in and says, "This is my word, and my word is law." And I was like, "Whoa!" You know.
Sorry, that just came out of my mouth.
And I mean, and the way she took care of the rebellion.
Yeah, yeah.
It's.
But I could see where Baahubali 2, you know, where she chose Baahubali over the other brother.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh, speaking of which, I'm sorry to interrupt. I got to say
okay.
one thing.
I interrupt you all the time, so.
I've never seen a chariot like that.
Oh, that looked like the lawnmower.
Freaking epic. I mean, the technologies that they had and the automatic arrow firing weapons, you know, with thousands of arrows.
That was cool.
The technology was amazing, but that chariot, I want one. I want to mow the yard with it.
The poor yard.
Or cut down a few trees or something.
Oh, we got plenty of those.
Epic.
You know, that probably would cut down trees really well.
It cut down a lot of things in the movie.
Jeez,
But,
yeah, that was. And you know what was really touching to me during the battle scene is when Baahubali saw his countrymen being used as targets, you know, in front, and it was just touching the way he spared them. He cared for them. You know, at first you didn't know what he was doing. I'm like seeing those thingies going through the air. You know, what do they call them? 2 balls on the end.
Yeah.
And you know, knocking all. And then I was like, brilliant. He's going to jump over them now. And
it was amazing.
Yeah, it was. It was very heartfelt. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Baahubali 2. And if it weren't almost 3 o'clock in the morning, I'd go ahead and watch it right now. But I've got to go to bed. And I think Jonathan needs to go to bed. And
well,
so,
first of all, before we...
Oh, yeah.
What's your rating?
I'd say... Oh, gosh. I'd say a 9.
A 9?
8.5 to a 9 out of 10.
Is it? 8.5?
Gosh, how about 8 3/4?
8 3/4. Okay.
Can I do
Actually,
that?
Yeah.
Is that a rating? 8 3/4?
Mine's 8.5 as well. If I wasn't thrown out of the movie those 2 times, I would give it a solid 9.5.
Mm-hmm.
I can't give it a full 10 because there were a few issues in the beginning of the movie with the special effects. But I would definitely give it a solid 9.5, except for those 2 times I was thrown out of the movie. Because for me, that's very important. And when I get thrown out of it, it's hard to get back into it again. But the story's so good on this, you know, definitely, you know, an 8.5.
Yeah, once you throw him out, he has the concentration level of a turtle. It's hard to get him back in. I don't mean that in a bad way, dear. I like turtles.
I'm Jonathan.
I'm Kelly.
And
we are Craving Cinematics, and we are going to bed. Good night.